On today's podcast, we are going to start out by just talking about hardship because we all got it.
I think there's enough to go around.
There's plenty to go around per person. And if you think that the person that you're watching on Instagram or that your neighbor's with or that you're in the carpool line with doesn't have problems and that they've got easy street and that you've got the corner market on suffering, you're wrong.
Oh, you just called them out. Let's just start by calling someone out.
Because
So,
we all have it. That's the thing. We all have it. Mark and Becky, we got the stressors. Your neighbor next door's got the stressors. You have the stressors. Maybe you are that mom of little kids whose kids won't go to sleep at night and you're both tired and exhausted and you just don't know how to do another night of exhaustion and another day trying to keep your eyelids open after your 2-year-old just won't sleep at night.
that's tough.
It's so hard and you just like it's so physically exhausting and then mentally exhausting because you can't get that reset every night. It's so hard.
And it weighs on you. And it isn't it amazing that when you don't get that good night of sleep, and if it's because of kids or you're up worrying about the teenagers, not that we've had any sleepless nights because of our teenagers
Yeah, none.
or our toddlers, none ever. Uh, it's amazing how it really impacts your performance the next day. It's always phenomenal to me as I watch energy levels, and you could always tell someone that's had a difficult sleepless night because they're sleeping in their chair by 9 a.m.
It's true. And it just like 2-year-olds. That's one ball game, but then maybe your kid is in elementary school and you've learned that they're somewhere on the spectrum or that they've got, somebody that's bullying your kid or that their grades aren't where they need to be. Maybe they're struggling with reading or with catching the concepts with math and that it's just a battle every day. Like they get home from school and you're fighting them all afternoon on getting their homework done or you're sitting with them day after day while they cry about their friends. Like heavy stuff. Elementary school is hard days, and then it moves into middle school where nobody knows how to relate to each other and they're just awkward and trying to find their new place and trying to figure out how to adult when they're not quite adults yet. They're still just kids. Or maybe they're teenagers or moving into college and now their life choices are
Could have serious consequences.
yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to watch your kids make decisions that you go, I didn't parent that. That was not what we taught in our home. And yet sometimes kids do those crazy things. You're like, what the heck?
What are you thinking?
What are you thinking?
And so then,
Well, no. I We were just talking with some friends the other day, and he was confiding in me. He goes, and I'm not going to use his name here, but if I did, it was no, I won't do that. No,
nah,
no. He was confiding in me. He goes, I'm not proud of how I reacted in that situation.
yeah,
And it was really eating him up. And part of me, the friend part of me was like, "Oh, brother, I get it. That's so hard." And then the coach side of me was, okay, well, how could you have done that differently? What would you do next time? Right? I mean, there's things that we could do in coaching, but in the moment, he didn't want coaching.
no,
He was feeling something that was pulling him, and he's going, and eventually he got to the point after we talked for a couple hours, he goes, I learned a lesson.
mm,
I learned I needed to be a little bit more patient.
yeah,
And I went, wow, that was a deep, heavy thing that he was dealing with his family and feeling that guilt and that remorse and having it weigh on him is hard.
yeah. Sleepless nights. Or maybe your kids are grown and you're not having those struggles. Maybe you just have it all figured out right now, which kudos to you. Take that moment and run with it. But maybe you have a relationship that's really struggling right now. Maybe,
Mm. That's interesting. I just had someone reach out to me the other day and said, Mark, I want to pick your brain on how can I build a better relationship with my son because I was expressing to him I was raised in a home that was, I use the term militaristic. My father was very old school.
Well, he was military.
Well, he was military, and so
Yeah, everything was precise and
yeah, and there was high expectations, which is wonderful, but there was very little mercy in my home growing up. And I was talking with someone just the other day, and he goes, he goes, I fear I am parenting in this military style. And he was really concerned about it. He goes, what is your relationship like now? He was at least thinking ahead. Is this the relationship I want to create, or am I trying to create something new and different? And that's a tough place to be because we've been there with our parenting.
we have been with our parenting, but then also with our marriage. Like maybe you're in a place where your parenting's figured out, but what about your marriage? Is your marriage or your relationship with your significant other, whoever that is it struggling? Are you in a place where you're communicating the way you need to, or you feel like you're drifting? Do you feel like you're in different places right now and you're not sure how to fix that?
I'd just like to report and say it here publicly that we have never,
Ever,
ever
ever struggled.
had any type of marital problem in 33 years. Getting married at 18, that's an easy road.
I
Having a baby 3 months later,
right.
being uninvited from colleges, that never put a strain on our
Never.
marriage, ever. Um, because you were always perfect.
Oh, yes, yes, you too, babe.
Absolutely. Right? So,
But that lends itself to its own, just it weighs heavy on your mind and you think about it all day long. You're like, are we going to make it? Are we going to be able to figure out how to work together or how to parent the same, or how to agree on big choices and decisions in your life?
you know, I love the questions that people ask us. It always amazes me what people see now, and they're comparing our 33 years of work and effort to their 3 to 4 years of
Right.
trying something new. And 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 I've had someone literally look at me and go, yeah, but Mark, you and Becky have such an amazing marriage. I'm sure you never even thought about divorce. um oh,
You mean like year one?
you're Hey, year one was great. We never talked about divorce. Of course, we never really talked in our first year either, and that's probably why.
Talked, maybe we fought more than we talked.
Yeah, we didn't talk, we fought.
Year one was terrible.
It
It
really,
just was.
it really was. And then learning to change our own relationship skills from how we were raised.
Hmm.
I mean, bless our parents, they did the very best that they could, but my parents ended up divorced and had a very tumultuous marriage. And I think your parents have
Oh, they
gone
went
through
through, yeah, they went
tough
through tough
years.
years too, for sure.
And that was the model that we had coming into a very young marriage, coming into a scenario where we had two very different upbringings, two different religions.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of strain on there. And I will say, I think there were multiple times that over 33 years that I had contemplated divorce, or at least the thought came to mind.
Like, are we going to make it?
Yeah,
Is this fixable?
it,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think through the grace of God, and I think that through a lot of effort and learning to communicate more effectively with each other is phenomenal. I would even say the past year, our marriage has continued to get stronger and stronger because we continue to fine tune how we talk with each other.
Hmm.
And I'm still not perfect at it.
Same. Yeah, but learning how to talk about the hard stuff, even after 33 years, we're figuring that piece out. So maybe that's you.
Or maybe I know for me as an entrepreneur, and I know a lot of my clients are either entrepreneurs or They're really trying to climb up that corporate ladder. They're trying to achieve something, and they're just feeling like no matter where they go, they're hitting a ceiling, and that ladder, someone keeps cutting the rungs, and they're just not as firm and secure as that they were hoping for. And it's interesting to me what a phenomenal impact a feeling of stress, consternation, a feeling of overwhelm, a feeling of I'm not doing enough has an impact on your marriage, your parenting, your health,
Mhm.
on your mindset, on your communication skills, your ability to serve in the community. And I've seen it time and time again with so many of my clients. In fact, I would say
Yeah.
most of my clients come to me for one of a couple reasons. One, they're at their last straw and they're not sure how they're going to have that breakthrough. And they feel like they've tried everything. They've read the self-help books. They've read the business books. They've read, they've gone to every seminar. They've had coaches. They've talked to a life coach down the road who is doing their very best and may not have the right skill set to truly help them, but they're doing their best. And these people are feeling like they're just struggling and they're tired. And it's almost like do or die for them. And then the other ones are, so I actually have three. The second group are people in business that are trying to grow in their career, or they're trying to make a really important career decision and they're not sure what that looks like and not sure how they're going to make that because
Hmm.
again, every time they turn around, they struggle with the ramifications of a decision that they're making. And then the third group is they're just go-getters and they're all like, I'm on my A game. I'm a 10 out of 10. I'm the greatest of all time. And yet there's something deep inside of them that goes, but there's another level.
Mm. And I
And
want that.
and I want that because they're looking at the Instagrams, they're looking at the LeBrons of the world. They're looking at the Richard Bransons of the world and they're going, why can't I be more like that?
Yeah.
And so there's there's this recurring theme that I'm hearing through parenting, through relationship,
Hmm.
through business, and that business can be self-employed or working for somebody else, or maybe I've had unemployed. That's been some of my favorites was an unemployed mom who was homeless.
Yeah.
That was incredible to coach her. But as I think about this, there's a recurring theme between these four different individuals or scenarios, and it's just they have questions.
Feeling stuck.
Yeah.
Don't know what to do next. Or maybe even just feel like they're too tired to figure out the next steps.
So let's talk about next steps.
Okay.
Let's talk about next steps, and maybe this will be a little bit about really what this podcast is about. Because over the past couple of episodes, we've really been introducing you to Mark and Becky so that you see that we're real individuals with real
Yep.
similar issues, challenges, questions, desires that you have. But before I go into exactly what I wanted to kind of talk about here, I've got a question for you, Becky.
Okay.
Okay, so
Question time.
I have a question. Have you ever had a, ooh, no, I like this one because we both love to travel. We both absolutely love to travel,
Love to
see
travel.
the world, experience new
Hmm.
things. Is there any place that you're just really hoping to go? If you could go anywhere in the next 12 months, where would you go?
Besides Hawaii?
Oh, no, it could be Hawaii, it could be anywhere.
Well, we're going to Hawaii in August.
We are going to Hawaii in August.
And I'm super excited about it because I've never been there. He's been there. Should we use Hawaii? Maybe we should use something else.
Okay, let's use
Let's
something
say
else. Where's another place you really, really want to go?
Italy.
Italy. Okay. If
Bucket list.
I love that bucket list for Italy. If you were going to make sure that this was the very best trip and and since you used bucket, it ticked every single check mark for having this be the very best trip to Italy you could ever imagine. What would you have to do to make sure that it was the most successful?
And it's not hire you.
No, no.
Ownership? Take ownership? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, okay. Is it yes, yes, definitely take ownership.
No, seriously. Usually, like when in life, I'm the planner, Mark's the fly by the seat of his pants.
This is true.
But when we're taking a trip, he's the one with all the details, and I'm just like, whatever, let's do it. But if it was a bucket list, I think I'd want to be involved. So what would I need to do? I'd probably make a list of all the things that were important to me.
Oh, ooh, that's really good. All right, so what would be some of those things that would be really important to you for this trip to Italy that is not planned? Although now I'm really starting to question.
Gosh, you're pressure.
Oh, of course there's pressure.
Um, drive the whole countryside.
Ooh, okay,
I want to see I want to see the ocean. I want to see the vineyards. I want to see like all the old towns. So drive the countryside.
okay. Drive the countryside. What else?
See the famous museums.
Yep,
Eat yummy food.
that's easy.
Plan my wardrobe appropriately.
I thought you were going to say plan my exercise routine so I can eat all the yummy food.
Yes,
Right?
100%.
Okay, so what I hear is that there would be a lot of planning taking place to make sure it was the very best. You make a
Yeah.
list, you become clear. And what I love about this is when we started, you weren't even sure what trip you wanted to go on. But as you've started to discuss this, you've been able to come up with drive the countryside, see the museums, have yummy food, plan a great wardrobe. I threw in there the exercise so that you can eat the yummy food. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of planning that needs to take place in order for this to be the absolute all-time best trip ever. How much time do you want to be there?
2 months.
You, holy Toledo, I love I love when you catch me off guard. That is so amazing. Okay, 2 months. I'm learning a
Maybe
lot.
3.
I'm learning a lot about Becky right now, folks. So, okay, so 2 to 3 months. How, if that was the goal and the plan, this was the big bucket list, how much planning would you need to start making now for well, let me ask, when do you want to go? This is not a
Next summer.
promise. Okay, I knew that was coming. This is not a promise that we're going next summer. But if we were to go next summer, so we have 12 months to have this happen.
It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Between bachelor's and doctorate,
We're gonna
we're
go.
gonna go three
Okay,
months in
okay.
Italy.
So here we go. Oh boy, I have some pressure
Pressure.
on, pressure on me. All of a sudden, I just felt all the pressure hit me. Okay, if we were to make this the absolute best possibility of happening in 12 months from now, and by the way, this is a big, hairy, scary goal because we haven't planned the time, we haven't planned the funds, we haven't planned the wardrobe, certainly. So
Funds for the wardrobe.
we've got a lot of work to do in order to make this become a reality.
Okay, true.
All right, given that, what would you have to start doing today to make that a reality?
Well, I'd have to start today to make that a reality. What? I'd have to start. I don't know what I'd have to start, but like I couldn't put it off 6 months. I'd have like we need to start planning now in order to make that something that could happen that
Super cool that something that you just said, you didn't even realize it, is start today. I don't know what. That is code for I'm willing to make the wrong choice in order to get closer to the right choice.
true
Yes,
because I don't know what I don't know yet.
right. Imagine for just a moment if everyone started taking their personal development, their parenting, their relationships, their business, their personal development, their high performance, their exercise and health and physiology
Yes.
with that same type of planning that it would take for us to go
Mhm.
on a 2 to 3 month trip to Italy. If people would start thinking about that,
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
Yes. How many of you are doing that with the challenges that you're facing right now? Whether that's parenting, relationships, business. How many of you are planning for your next steps or for what figuring all that out is for you, like you would plan a trip?
All right, so let's can we talk about just a couple high level, maybe I don't know if we want to call them high performance or personal development or personal leadership, leadership development, whatever it is that you want to label it. Let's just talk for a few moments about things that if people were to make their parenting better, what what would they what would they have to start doing? Because I think there's so much information out there. How do they know where to turn and where to listen? How do they know what to read?
I don't know. I ask people that you respect.
Okay. I yeah, I love you know what? That's funny. I use a question in coaching that I love. And it's like, okay, if I came to you with 500 of the world's experts on parenting, what would be the first question that you would want to ask one of those 500? And most people go, oh, I would ask this.
I
How,
would hang
yeah,
on.
yeah, what would you ask?
I would ask, what is your personal experience?
I've already said that they're one of the experts.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Oh, that doesn't get,
Expert is different than personal experience.
oh, I like it.
So I would want to know what their
Okay.
personal experience is.
Yeah.
If they understood where it was coming from.
I would go to maybe something I've already been thinking about for me. And just, I would want to ask a question that would enable me to, to get some insight because it's something that I'm dealing with or contemplating or worried about. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. And even if we've never talked about this, and so like a great dinner plan, I'm just going to throw it out there. And here we go. I've got two thoughts here.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I
If
think.
if you have a question about parenting or relationship or business or as we start going along, what if we made this a little bit more interactive and we started taking some of their questions before the show, before we start talking about it,
Oh,
so that we could start answering?
like we answer one or two questions at the
Yeah.
beginning of our podcast.
And
That
I
would be
don't
cool.
even have a mechanism for this to happen. So I'm gonna
That might be a reality.
I'm gonna throw one out there that could be a reality. Go onto Instagram, go find the happiness breakthrough. That's us. And instant message me.
Or
Just
maybe we make a post every week for the next podcast coming up, and you can put your questions
yeah.
on that post.
You know what I love about this? That's what Andrew Huberman does with Huberman Lab.
And it's what Emily Bell Freeman does.
So two of our favorites, they start asking what people want to know about. Okay, so evidently you're learning about how we run our business right there. It is when we have an inspiration, we act upon it. And there's a really cool thing that we do in our business with inspiration. And it's what just happened. There's an alignment there and there's a feeling that happens.
True, true. Alignment. I love that. So, okay, so you said we had you had multiple,
I did?
you did.
That's good for me. What did I say? I got so excited about this idea of how we can answer questions and how we can make sure that people are getting value out of our podcast. I want to be able to answer some of their questions
Yes.
along the way. The other thing is, so in my coaching, I was saying that, you could ask this question of if 500 of the world's experts came up to your door, what would be the first question? I love yours. It's, well, what experience do you have?
Well, yeah, because you could have studied parenting your whole life, and I think it's different depending on what the topic is. But for parenting in particular, if you've never raised a child, I have a harder time hearing what you have to say.
There is a really popular podcaster, and I'll just call him like author and leadership person, who they start talking about parenting, and then he says, "Well, we've never had kids, but I've been around a lot."
Yeah,
And
there's nothing that compares to the sleepless nights and to it being your own child that you've laid awake at night. Now, that doesn't mean that people don't add value. And there's certainly somebody may have never parented before, but they work with autistic children. So they understand something and they will definitely add value, right? But if you're just talking about day to day parenting and you've never day to day parented before,
it's gonna be harder to answer because otherwise it becomes theoretical.
right,
And we'll bring theoretical and we'll bring academic
for sure.
and we'll bring studies and we'll bring scripture and we'll bring, most importantly, personal experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what we're going to be doing on this podcast is bringing our own experiences as experts in parenting, relationships, leadership development, in health and physiology, in mindset. We're both mindset coaches. I think
Hmm.
I think there's a lot that we bring to the table, but I don't want to talk about necessarily what we bring to the table right here. I want to talk about what is a transformation that if someone listens to this podcast over the next 12 months, what will they get out of it?
Actionable takeaways. I am hoping that there will be something that resonates with you from week to week that you can say, I could do just that one thing. If I just if I just start there, then maybe just maybe this will help me see what the next steps are. As we talked in the previous podcasts, hope. I'm hoping that the things that we talk about will give you a little bit of hope and help you with your own inspiration that you need to fix the problems that you're in and that you're struggling with. And it just starts with like a baby step. And I'm hoping that there's things that we share that will inspire you to take the next step and to feel like you can do it.
Oh, I completely agree. Hope, inspiration, tactile pieces, things that people can implement right away. I mean, we've already created some of those very tactile items that you could take away right now, when they download the three uncommon things that you can do to improve your mindset today when you go to the happinessbreakthrough.com/uncommon. What a great tool that will give them things that we've utilized.
Mhm.
Like nothing in there is some theoretical smoke and mirror. They're the actual things that we have done to become so successful,
Mhm.
to go from, I'll say, from rags to riches.
Yeah. But also backed by science and backed by God,
And if
right?
those two do not line up, so this is a great litmus test. If there is great science, but it is adverse to the laws of God and the doctrine of Christ, then that's not good science. I believe that science was developed by God. I believe that the world was created by God.
Hmm.
And if that is true, that means the laws of science that are truly part of his kingdom are the ones that will make the biggest difference
Hmm.
in our personal lives.
Yes.
Uh, can I just share one in particular
Hmm.
that I was thinking about? There is a great chapter in the Old Testament, Malachi. It's the very last book before the New Testament. And in there, it talks about turning the hearts of the children to the fathers and the hearts of the fathers to the children. That's the importance of family. It also talks about tithing. Now, I said I'm going to talk about a business principle. Our business, one of the metrics we utilize is, have we donated or given away 10% every month
Mm-hmm.
somehow to the community?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, most of that is done without people knowing, because I don't want, we had a marketing company say, well, you need to put that up on your board in your stores to
You
show how
need to,
much you're giving. And I
yes,
go, I don't need to do that. I'm not, if I'm doing it for marketing purposes, I'm no longer doing it for godly purposes.
right.
And that,
There's wisdom in giving and utilizing marketing. And it's not like we don't do that too. But it's important to us that we give from our hearts and that it has nothing to do with marketing as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, great principle that we've learned in business that I believe has blessed us immeasurably.
Yeah. So this is what we're going to do. This is what the podcast is going to look like for you, is us bringing thoughts and ideas to the table along with great stories. Great
Absolutely.
stories from our own parenting, great stories from our own relationship, great stories from his coaching that all come together and align with God's principles to help you with the strategy that you need for your life, for creating your excellent life.
And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in the next episode, is how do you create your excellent life? And just one thing I would love for you to bring to the table in preparation for that is just take a few moments, grab a journal, grab something to write with. It could be your phone. I love a couple of great apps out there. I do not get paid for any of these. I use Apple Notes. I use Notability. It's amazing.
Obsessed with
Yep.
notability.
I use a paper journal. Whatever it is, grab a
Works for you.
napkin, for crying
Yep.
out loud. Just write down some ideas of things that if you could begin to craft what your excellent life or your best life or what it is that you want your life to look like a year from now and 5 years from now, just begin to write those down. Because next week, I would love to take a deep dive into how you could start creating that and making that a reality. Because again, just like a great trip to Italy for 2 to 3 months, evidently, just like a great trip, if you're going to develop your ideal perfect life that will continue to have trials and tribulations, but give you the tools to work through those so that you're strengthened, then it's going to take planning. And that's really what we're going to talk about next week, is how to plan out your excellent life and things that you can do today to start making that a reality.
Yeah. How to lean into that. What does excellence look like for you personally? Mark and Becky can define it all day long, but our excellent life is not your excellent life. And what we're meant to become is different than what you're meant to become. And so seek inspiration for that. Really tune into what God's telling you. Spend some time really pondering what that looks like for you, and then we will help you with crafting that.
Absolutely. And give you a very tactile model and framework that you can begin to implement every single day. Because if you're not taking steps today to make that dream trip a reality, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
And your excellent life doesn't happen by chance.
Yeah.
It happens by choice.
Choice. Choice, my favorite word.
Yes.
By choice.
So, okay, so don't forget to go and download the 3 uncommon things that you could do to improve your mindset today by going to thehappinessbreakthrough.com/uncommon. Also, we would love to hear what ideas you have and what questions you have about how to create an excellent life. For now, the easiest thing to do, go to Instagram, find us on there, The Happiness Breakthrough,
Hmm.
and send us an instant message.
Yes.
We would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes.
because if we could help answer your questions, that's going to fulfill us because that's important. So we cannot wait to see your questions and to see kind of your thoughts and what you're grappling with and where you want to go. Because if we can help you do that today,
That's
that
what this purpose
that's
is.
what this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Perfect.
all right. Till then, have a great day.